Zipper rolls out to the right, pitches off to Taylor, and Taylor's to the 20, down to the 15, down to the 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Billy Taylor scored a touchdown from 21 yards out. The crowd goes berserk. It was November 22nd, 1969. That they came to Barry, Michigan, all dressed in maize and blue. The words were said, the prayers were read, and everybody cried. But when they closed the coffin, there was someone else inside. Oh, they came to Barry, Michigan, but Michigan wasn't dead. And when the game was over, it was someone else instead. 11 Michigan Wolverines put on the gloves of gray, and as the organ played the victors, they laid Woody Hayes away. Under center is Wangler at the 45. He goes back. He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield to Carter. Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Welcome to the Michigan Man Podcast on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew, for Wolverine fans from coast to coast. Go Blue and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. A very happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you, and I thank you for joining me. On today's Visitors Edition, my guest is Ohio State beat writer Tim May from the Columbus Dispatch. Before he joins us, my view from Section 17 to get us started. The eyes of the college football nation will be on Michigan and Ohio State on Saturday. Some in the media are calling the game a playoff. In some ways, that is accurate. For us, it's simple. Win on Saturday, and we are the East Division champs, securing a spot in next weekend in Indy for the Big Ten championship game. If we lose, well, it's been a great season, but it will end in disappointment. As of this morning, we are 7-point underdogs. If you listen to the ESPN and BTN guys, Ohio State is just better than us, and they have the game changer in quarterback J.T. Barrett. Here is how I see it, though. Ohio State is far and away the best team we've faced this year. Their offense is number one in just about every statistical category right now. They have weapons. Mike Weber from Detroit is a bruising running back, and Curtis Samuel is dangerous out of the backfield or as an H-back. J.T. Barrett is what makes the whole offense go, though. He has thrown for 24 touchdowns and run for over 700 yards. No one has been able to stop him. Wisconsin did come close, but he broke their backs late in the game with big runs on third and longs. Harassing JT will be job number one for Don Brown and the defense. Barrett and Ohio State attack the edge better than any offense in the country, and we've struggled with edge containment the last few weeks. This is the biggest challenge our defense has faced this season, and they must turn in their best performance if we are going to have a chance. The Ohio State defense will be the best we've seen this year, too. Our offensive line has to be better than we've seen the last 2 weeks. Balance is the key word this week. We cannot be one-dimensional against this defense, or we will have problems. Whether it's Spade or O'Korn, we must have some success throwing the ball and no turnovers. Ohio State is one of the best defenses in the country at turning mistakes into points. What we do know is that this game is bigger than it's been in the last 10 years. There is so much on the line. Ohio State wants to continue their recent dominance, and Michigan wants to make a statement that we are back. We are back, but we need to beat Ohio State in the worst way. This is the way it should be when these two teams meet every year. 10 years ago, this game was advertised as the game of the century in college football. Number one against number two, everything on the line. These games usually never live up to the hype. That game did. Ohio State prevailed 42-39 that day. Who knows what will happen this Saturday? We do know Jim Harbaugh will have his team ready, and it should be fun to watch. Tim May thinks beating Ohio State in the shoe with your backup quarterback is asking a lot. He also knows it's different, though, when it's Michigan-Ohio State. He joins me next here on the Michigan Man on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. with us on our visitors segment this week as we get ready for the game once again is Ohio State beat writer Tim May from the Columbus Dispatch. Great to have you back again this year, Tim.
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be anywhere at this point.
Amen to that. Big week, of course, we all know that. A lot of reminiscing goes on this time of year, Tim, and we were thinking 10 years ago, these two teams met in Columbus, ranked number 1 and 2. The Big Ten championship on the line. It was a day after Bo Schembechler had passed away. A spot in the BCS championship game was on the line. And again, it does seem like just yesterday, but for both fan bases, that was truly a game that lived up to the hype, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And most of the time they don't. And as I kept warning people who kept calling for a rematch in the national championship game, most of the time the rematches don't live up to the hype either, and for sure. And I thought that game was everything you wanted in something that you'd been sort of anticipating for 2 months. It went down to the wire, as you well know. Ohio State scored a sort of a go-ahead score, kind of an insulating score near the end, but then Michigan came right back, and it was everything. But, man, what took it to the surreal level was Bo dying that day before. I mean, it was like, us guys in the media, us ladies and gentlemen in the media, because I don't want to leave Angelique Chingelis out of that equation at all. I mean, you work really hard during that week, because it is the biggest game of the year nationally, and you pretty much got your stuff all done by Friday, and then all of a sudden that hits, and wow, what a bulletin that Bo Schembechler passed away, and then how fitting that in the game of the century that, if you believe in such things, he and Woody Hayes would be sitting elbow to elbow in football heaven watching that one together. It was amazing, and you could imagine the wrestling match they were going through because, number one, 42-39, I think that's more points than cumulatively than were scored throughout those great games from 72 through 75, and then number two, it just like you said, it lived up to the hype. And really, if you look at the bowl games by both teams, there was a little bit of a drop off there from an intensity standpoint.
I remember Woody saying that after the Michigan game. It's anticlimactic. I mean, it's a drop-off. But here we are, fast forward 10 years later. Of course, it's the game. The college football world has changed in the last 10 years. The East Division title is on the line, trip to the Big Ten championship game, the playoffs, all that aside, again, it's the game. I think both fan bases would say this is the way it should be, Tim.
Yeah. The bad thing about it now is everything whenever you write it now, everything has an explanation to it because of the divisional format of the Big Ten. For example, if Michigan wins, then it definitely goes to the Big Ten title game where we'll be playing probably Wisconsin, a team that gave them a heck of a run. And so, there's nothing for sure about getting even a conference title, a trip to the college football playoff Final Four for Michigan. It still has another game to play. And if Ohio State wins, Ohio State has to hope Penn State gets beat by Michigan State so Ohio State can go to the Big Ten championship game. Yet there is a feeling that if Ohio State wins and stays number 2 in the college football playoff rankings after this coming week, that it will have cemented at least a spot in the college football playoff Final Four. But you see what I'm saying? I mean, back in 2006, the winner was going to the BCS national championship game, no doubt about it. And there was a chance the loser might go there too. But I don't know. It's just everything comes with an explanation. The warning label these days. It seems.
You think of some of the scenarios coming out of this weekend, rivalry weekend all over college football. But you say yes. Michigan knows their path. If Ohio State wins the game, Penn State has to lose to Michigan State, and that's not outside of the realm of possibility. Michigan State can do that. But then you've got the Big Ten championship game. What if Penn State gets to that game, plays Wisconsin wins? Do you foresee 2 Big Ten teams being in the playoffs?
I think it could happen, but I think some things still have to happen for that to happen. I mean, I don't know how many happens I can work in there, but it is a happening. I mean, I think sort of the best case scenario for that to happen would be, for example, if either Clemson or Washington gets beat in its conference title games, ACC for Clemson, which I think will be playing either North Carolina or Virginia Tech, and then of course Washington could turn around and have to play USC again, or possibility, or Colorado. which Colorado is an improved team, definitely. I mean, we all know, everybody kind of poo-pooed that win by Michigan way back when, but, I mean, that's really propped up Michigan's college football playoff ranking. But I could see, if Ohio State wins Saturday, I could see it getting in the college football playoff. And then, like I said, if the scenario follows the next weekend, then possibly the winner of the Big Ten championship game getting in, more likely Wisconsin than Penn State, based on what you're reading the tea leaves right now. But that'd be the only way. I wouldn't see two teams if Michigan wins and goes to the Big Ten championship game, because Ohio State would have 2 losses at that point. But yeah, I mean, stranger things have happened, and I could see that. But some cards have to fall, like I said. And for example, if Alabama gets upset in the Southeastern Conference championship game by, I think it's Florida, then all bets are off. One loss Alabama doing a belly flop right into the middle of the one-loss pool, and that's going to definitely knock a team out.
Let's take a look at this Ohio State team. I mean, we all watch it all year, watch them, I should say. When you look at this team, Michael Weber, he's over 1,000 yards. Curtis Samuel, 61 receptions. The only player in college football, I think, with over 600 yards receiving and rushing. But J.T. Barrett's the man. And you've seen plenty of good quarterbacks line up under center down there in Columbus, Tim. Is he right up there with the best you've seen play?
Yeah, as a college quarterback, he's as good as I've seen at Ohio State, and that includes Troy Smith, who won the Heisman Trophy, only because JT is much more of a running threat than Troy was. Troy would prefer always to throw the ball if he could, but he could scramble with the best of them. I think Michigan fans remember that. He beat Michigan 3 years in a row as a starting quarterback. Yeah, JT is thing about him is he throws well enough to keep you on your toes, and he runs well enough. You better make sure you've got him covered. But then you throw in there the other 2 threats, Mike Weber and from right there in Detroit, and Curtis Samuel from Brooklyn, New York. It's an interesting combo they've got going on right now, or trio they've got going on right now. But the linchpin is J.T. Barrett. Now I say that, we've seen Ohio State flourish with a backup quarterback before, including losing J.T. Barrett on the first play from scrimmage in the fourth quarter 2 years ago, and then Cardale Jones came in and after a rocky start got Ohio State going again, and then of course took them all the way to the national championship, 3 straight huge wins. But yeah, J.T. Barrett, in my opinion, is sort of the linchpin, because this is a very good Michigan defense, but it's also a defense that's been run on a little bit here recently. And when you can throw a triple threat at them from a running standpoint, much less passing, to me, the most encouraging thing about Saturday is the weather forecast, because unlike last week at Michigan State, when the wind blew at least 20 miles an hour all day and gusted over 30 to 40, some people said, passing was a great adventure. And it's supposed to be in the mid 40s with winds in the 5 to 9 mile per hour range. I mean, that's ideal takeoff weather.
We sat through almost blizzard conditions, it seemed, at the end of the game, with high winds on Saturday too. So it was a wacky weather day.
Unbelievable.
Let's hope the weather holds up. One of the things that I find interesting, Tim, is earlier in the year, Urban said, I don't want him getting 20 carries a game, and he being J.T. Barrett. But when I look at the numbers, Mike Weber has 166 carries. JT has 164, which averages out to about 15 a game. He's still getting a lot of hits on him.
Well, here's the point. It's not 15 a game, but it's he had 24 on Saturday. When he runs, he's one of the better runners, at least in the Big Ten, maybe in college football, when he decides to run. He has a way of picking his way, and then he's smarter about going down and things like that than he was a couple of years ago, as he'll tell you. But you're in jeopardy when you're standing there throwing the ball from the pocket. I mean, how many Cleveland Browns quarterbacks have played this year? I think it's 104, I think at last count. Look at Wilton Spate sitting there, whether he's going to play or not. He's not a runner by any stretch, but he's on the mending list at least, at this point. So, people talk about the jeopardy of it. You're in jeopardy no matter what, but I think you're in a lot of jeopardy when you stand back there and just throw the ball and have people whack you. But, there's no apologies by either Urban Meyer or J.T. Barrett, because like I said, he's effective at it. There have been times when he probably should have given it up. I mean, for example, Saturday, of 24 runs, he probably had an option whether to keep it or not on 12 to 15 of those. And he opted to keep it because, he knows he is effective running it. And that's what you run into when you run the option. And he has been good at that. But also Mike Weber is really coming online, man. I mean, they really need somebody to step into the Ezekiel Elliott's shoes, and Weber will just be playing in his 12th game as a collegiate on Saturday, and he's just the third Ohio State freshman running back to go over 1,000 yards. Now that comes with a caveat because Robert Smith and Maurice Clarett in 1990 and 2002 respectively were true freshmen. He is a redshirt freshman, but he's playing extremely well right now despite getting a shoulder ding a few weeks ago. And then Curtis Samuel, like you just pointed out, the only player in major college football with plus 600 yards rushing and receiving. So, but J.T. Barrett, get back to your original question. I'm sorry I digress a lot when I talk. He's almost a consummate college quarterback because he gives you the threat of the pass, and he also gives you the threat of the run, and also gives you the threat of getting the team in the proper play, and more often than not making the correct decision.
From a Michigan perspective, we don't know if Wilton's going to play. Just really don't. So it could be John O'Korn again this week, and he was shaky, no question about it, on Saturday. So I think from our perspective, it's not Jabril, it's not Devion Smith. The key to the game Saturday for Michigan is John O'Korn. And my guess is Ohio State's going to load that box up and say, okay, John, beat us in the air.
Yeah, but they were going to do that if Wilton Speight was there. That's Ohio State defensively. We talk about all the stars, but Ohio State has two cornerbacks they trust implicitly in man-to-man coverage in Garyon Conley and Marshawn Lattimore, and they've got another kid who's playing extremely well. They can put three corners on the field that they think can play with anybody. The third one is Denzel Ward, and they play a lot of times their nickel puts their best cornerback in the slot covering then that next guy, which could be Jabril Peppers on Saturday. Who knows who that's going to be, but they like to play coverage with two, possibly three guys man to man, and then play football with the other 8 or 9 guys on defense. And if you understand what I'm saying, and their whole modus operandi is they may give up a play here and there, but they're going to continue to bring pressure. And by pressure, I don't mean they're going to blitz every down, but they think their front four, which they rotate about 8 guys through there. They think their front four, keeping them fresh, can get after almost anybody. Now, they had a little trouble rushing the passer on Saturday at Michigan State, and but that's a really, in my opinion, improving offensive line up there. We'll see what they can do against Michigan. But yeah, it's going to come down to John O'Korn making good decisions and not throwing the ball up for grabs. But like I told you a while ago, I don't judge anything from a quarterback based on what happened Saturday in that windstorm. That's not fair. Bottom line is Michigan won 20-10 and moved on, just like Ohio State survived Indiana and moved on. The Big Ten, we were talking about Woody and Bo a while ago. I was talking to Bo's son, Shimmy, just the other day, and, this isn't like the good old days of the Big Ten when you could focus on the Ohio State-Michigan game all year long. There are teams that can beat you, and these guys both found out the hard way. Michigan on the road at Iowa, tough place to play at night, and Ohio State on the road at Penn State, traditional program, right, coming back clearly on the rebound now under James Franklin, and they both have those stars, going into this game. So with that said, I think O'Korn with another week to get his feet under him, I think is going to be, going to be an interesting guy to watch on Saturday, just like J.T. Barrett is. It always comes down to the quarterbacks making right decisions and not turning the ball over.
Absolutely. This is the way we want it. 12 noon. Weatherman says nice day down in Columbus in the Horseshoe and everything on the line.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think all these people keep thinking this should be a primetime night game? And I go, man, high noon showdown between Ohio State and Michigan. To me, that's as traditional as the sun coming up. And, I enjoy it being a high noon game for a lot of reasons. Number one, I hate primetime games when I'm covering them because we're always under the deadline. And, but I just think this is what it's all about, man. College football coming down to the wire and these two teams meeting, squaring off at high noon face to face. What do you think?
I don't think I've ever heard a Michigan fan that wants this game anything else but 12 noon. I remember 10 years ago, Tim, remember when the network rolled it back to a 3:30 kickoff down there in Columbus?
I think it was at 4 o'clock, which was like, well, you might want to go ahead and make it at night because it got dark, an hour later.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. But I will say this. That game lived up to primetime billing, that's for darn sure.
Well, it did. But getting back to your question, 12 noon, tradition, that's the way it should be. I sort of feel like Bo. It kicks off at 12 noon, everyone will be there, and everyone will be watching, so it doesn't change it at all.
Everybody who cares will be there, and everybody who cares will be watching. You're exactly right. And this year, there's a lot of people who care and a lot of people who their fates kind of hang on how this game goes. So it's going to be fun to watch.
It sure is. On our visitor segment, as we get ready for the game, has been beat writer Tim May from the Columbus Dispatch. Tim, it's always a pleasure having you on the show, and we thank you for carving out time from game week because it's going to be busy. So thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back again next year.
You should have said carving out time on Turkey Week, but that's okay. I'll take I'll accept your faux pas there and move on. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, my man. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you, Tim. Quick Hits is next as we wrap up our visitors edition of The Michigan Man on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V-Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. On Quick Hits today, nothing new to report on the injury front. Wilton Speight has been practicing since Tuesday, but is still listed as day-to-day. Here are some game day facts for you. Michigan leads the series with 58 wins against 48 losses. There have been 6 ties. Last year, Ohio State beat us in the Big House 42-13. Urban Meyer is in his 5th year and has a 60-5 record at Ohio State. He is 164-28 in 10 years as a head coach. They were 12-1 last year, 7-1 in the East. They beat Notre Dame 44-28 in the Fiesta Bowl. I think most of us are just ready to kick off and get this thing started. We're going to tee it up at 12 noon, and the game can be seen on ABC. The weatherman says it's going to be a good day for football, temps in the mid-40s, mild winds, and no rain. Whatever happens on Saturday, we will be right back here with you next week. Our show schedule depends on the outcome of the game. If we win, it's on to the Big Ten Championship game on Saturday. If that happens, I'll have our game day show on Tuesday and the visitors segment on Thursday. If the unthinkable happens and we lose on Saturday, we will recap that game and air on Wednesday. Whatever happens, make sure you join us next week. So that's it for our visitors segment this week. I'm ready for the Buckeyes. I know you are, and I'm sure Jim Harbaugh will have his team ready. Enjoy the game Saturday. It has all the makings of a classic. Big play guys on both sides, the best offenses and defenses in the Big Ten, and if that's not enough, it's Michigan versus Ohio State in the game. What a way to end the season. Before I say goodbye for this week, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. We all have much to be thankful for, and I'm thankful for those of you who join me each week to listen to the show. It wouldn't be any fun without you. So until next week, I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Enjoy every minute of Saturday's game. This is special. Think victory, beat Ohio State. Until next time, take care, and as always, go blue. Thanks for joining us today on The Michigan Man, here on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V-Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Our listener lines are open 24/7 for your calls at 313-263-4842. That's 313-263-4842. Or email us at themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. That's themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. The Michigan Man Podcast is produced at the studios of Robin Lynn Productions, Allen Park, Michigan, and is not affiliated with the University of Michigan. Go Blue!